Welcome to Agoracom Talks, your weekly go-to source for the best small-cap headlines for over 65 million investors since 2007. Today we're doing a deep dive, really getting into the most compelling news. We'll cut straight to the crucial financial and drilling results, the stuff that demands your attention. Think of it like a breaking news update, fast and focused.
Exactly. And we've picked out highlights that aren't just headlines. They're the real nuggets, the material insights, stuff that should, maybe prompt you, our listener, to dig a bit deeper yourself.
Okay, let's dive right in. First up, the headline is Zefiro Methane breakthrough. First ever carbon offsets from orphan well remediation sold to Mercuria.
Yeah, this is genuinely a breakthrough. Zefiro just completed the first ever sale of carbon offsets, and these were generated under the American Carbon Registry's orphan well rules, which is quite specific.
Right, orphan wells, those are the abandoned, often leaking oil and gas wells.
Precisely. And this deal involved nearly 93,000 metric tons of CO2 equivalent reductions from just one project in Oklahoma.
Wow.
And Catherine Flex, the CEO over at Zefiro, she said, and I quote, "This development sets new standards for voluntary carbon markets. It offers a straightforward blueprint to fund orphan well remediation without relying on taxpayer dollars."
So it's more than just one sale. It's like proof of concept.
Exactly.
It validates a potentially huge, scalable revenue stream. Taking these environmental liabilities, these leaky wells, and turning them into assets, verifiable carbon credits that big players clearly want.
Right, especially U.S.-based ones. Big potential there.
Okay, pivoting from environmental solutions now to materials innovation. HPQ Silicon, their headline. HPQ Silicon's pilot reactor achieves breakthrough in fumed silica production.
Fumed silica, it's important stuff, right? Goes into everything from tires to paints, even food sometimes.
Yeah, multi-billion-dollar market.
Well, HPQ's pilot reactor test, this was test number 6, showed some really significant operational gains. They basically cut startup time in half, doubled their semi-continuous batch production.
Doubled.
Yeah, and get this, increased total output fivefold compared to their last test run.
5 times the output. That's huge.
It is. And they've sent material off to a, quote, leading global fumed silica manufacturer for analysis. Bernard Turion, the CEO, he emphasized, these operational improvements represent a meaningful advancement. Reducing startup time, increasing batch production, and significantly expanding output are critical milestones as we progress toward commercial deployment.
So the big takeaway here seems to be the potential scalability. They can make it faster and make more of it.
Right.
That points towards lower production costs, potentially disrupting that big market, real commercial potential showing through.
Definitely one to watch. The technology seems to be proving out.
Okay, let's move over to gold. ES Gold, that's symbol ESAU. Headline. ES Gold expands into Colombia with high-grade tailings joint venture.
Interesting. Tailings processing, but now in Colombia. They signed a binding MOU for a JV in the Bolivar region. ES Gold is putting in a $1.5 million for a 50% stake.
And the grades.
Well, early fire assay tests, where they analyzed the samples, showed some really high-grade stuff. Multiple samples with gold over 40 grams per ton, silver over 190 grams per ton in some cases. That's quite rich for tailings.
Very rich. And they have permits.
Their local partner apparently holds the required permits, which is key. Gordon Robb, the CEO, said, "This creates an immense opportunity to improve yields and environmental outcomes at the same time."
Right, so cleaning up old mine waste and extracting value. This is their second operation like this, right?
Yeah, it diversifies them geographically, and it suggests potential for, maybe some near-term cash flow while also doing environmental good.
Okay, different kind of gold story now up in Sweden. First, Nordic Metals, FNM headline. First Nordic expands gold discovery in Sweden with 2-kilometer strike extension.
Yeah, this sounds like they're onto something potentially quite large. Early results from their 2025 diamond drill program look strong. Out of the first 14 holes assayed, they drilled 39 total. They hit intercepts like 1.94 grams per ton gold over 21.5 meters.
That's a good width.
And another one, 5.45 grams per ton over 4.6 meters. Pretty solid grades. But the key thing, this drilling extended the known mineralized zone from about half a kilometer to over 2 kilometers long.
Wow, a 4-fold increase in the strike length.
And they say it's still open in all directions. They even saw visible gold in 5 holes.
Visible gold is always exciting.
Always gets attention. The CEO, Taj Singh, said even with wide-spaced step-outs, every hole along the corridor intersected gold. With 25 more assays pending, we are only scratching the surface of this system's potential.
So the takeaway is scale potential. Big scale, in a safe jurisdiction like Sweden with high-grade hits, and lots more news to come with those pending assays.
Definitely seems like significant exploration upside there.
All right, one more. Let's head to Canada's Yukon. White Gold Corp, WGO. The headline, White Gold Corp boosts indicated resources by 44% at flagship Yukon project.
This is a resource update, and it's a substantial one. They've increased their indicated resources. That's the higher confidence category.
Right.
By 44%, it's now up to 1.73 million ounces of gold.
Huge jump indicated.
And the inferred resources also increased, up 13.4% to 1.26 million ounces.
So what's the total now?
Add it all up, indicated and inferred, you're looking at just over 3 million ounces combined.
3 million ounces, that's significant scale.
Absolutely. And a lot of it is near surface within open pit designs.
Yeah.
The Golden Saddle main zone has a high-grade core too. David D'Onofrio, the CEO, said, with more than 3 million ounces now defined, we are building one of Canada's leading large-scale, high-grade open pit gold projects.
So this really cements their project as, a potentially top-tier open pit opportunity. Big scale, good grades, still room to grow.
And they have strategic partners involved too, which helps de-risk things. It's a solid update.
Finally, let's look at Kidos, KDOZ on the TSX-V. The headline, Kidos delivers record first half revenue, expands investment to accelerate growth. Numbers look good. Record first half 2025 revenue, $5.17 million USD. That's up 21% year over year. Now, operating expenses are up 23%, but that's due to reinvestment in R&D and marketing. And interestingly, their free cash flow actually improved. It went from negative $742,000 last year to negative $346,020 USD this half. So less cash burn. CEO Jason Williams says flat out, we're building for scale.
Yeah, and what's important for you, the listener, to maybe consider here is why they're investing. Kidos is doing this strategically right in the middle of a shifting ad tech world. Their focus on privacy-first ads, especially in mobile gaming, positions them pretty well for where the industry seems to be heading. It shows they have a long-term vision, even if it means investing heavily in the short term to get that scale.
Building for scale, a common theme. Okay, so looking back at all these, quite a range of stories. What's the common thread for you?
Well, it really shows how these small-cap companies are often right at the edge, pushing innovation like Zefiro with carbon credits or HPQ with silica tech, or making significant discoveries and expansions like First Nordic and White Gold, turning liabilities into assets like ES Gold.
Yeah, often finding value where others haven't, or unlocking potential before it becomes mainstream news.
And that underlines why you, the listener, need to focus on the actual results, the tangible stuff, the tons of CO2 equivalent reduced, the fivefold production increases, those high-grade gold hits over real widths, the millions of ounces actually defined in the ground.
Right. Those are the numbers, the data points that really matter for investors.
Absolutely. They're the drivers.
So maybe the final thought to leave everyone with is this. Think about how these focused breakthroughs, often happening under the radar in small caps, how they might offer these unique chances for both profit and maybe even purpose, tackling environmental issues or efficiently developing resources.
Definitely worth exploring further. Do your own homework, verify the data for yourself, see if these opportunities fit your strategy.